what do you tell parents and family members when they have a young person in their family, their son, their daughter, um, who is going through this struggle?
So first off, I want to make sure that we're not merging suicidal ideation and self-harm, because even though there can be overlap, it's important to know the distinction. So again, as Sheikh Umar was saying, for suicidal ideation, we usually look for three things. That's if someone has the intent to commit suicide, they have a plan, and they have the means or a weapon. If that happens, then you go to an emergency room, you call an ambulance. That's a mandatory reporting requirement, and the person needs to be dealt with right away. But to feel low or depressed, or to have thoughts that, gee, I wish I was not alive, I wish I was dead, oh God, please take me from here. That's something that's unfortunate, but I want to say, in a sense, normalize it, in a sense that these are not uncommon feelings. It doesn't immediately mean that you need to rush to the hospital. These are things that you can provide the person support, therapy, different ways to deal with that. But that's not an immediate danger that something is going to happen, because it's important that at the same time we're cautious, and we take precautions, and we support people when they're in danger. We also need to know when the type of support is more supportive counseling than immediately taking them to the emergency room or calling the police or something like that. So it's important that way to know the distinctions. And the other thing is, again, self-harm can be a catharsis. It can be trying to feel something or take control in a situation. So on one hand, I would want to validate the distress that the parents could feel or the individual could feel. But at the same time, knowing that it is quite common, I would want someone to understand that this is not just a unique disaster that's only happening to them. In a sense, kind of normalize it in that, yes, these things are more frequent than we'd like to believe, but they're there. There are ways to treat this. And so it's important that whoever is experiencing this does get the right help. But then the treatment is to, first off, to validate the pain, not the behaviors that the person is choosing, to find out the factors that are involved. And usually when you can break apart something that seems overwhelming, you break it down into small, understandable pieces. Each and every one of these pieces can be addressed and dealt with. So at the same time, yes, it's a concern and it's validating. I wouldn't want to minimize that, but these are definitely things that can be and should be dealt with. And for the person who's just doing these things and they don't understand, there's lots of good studies now to understand what are the behaviors that would give rise to this, what are the reasons, the causes for this, what are the behaviors that are maintaining this. And even after a while, it can become like an addiction. There's physiological things that you get, almost a kind of endorphins of reward as you're going through this type of ritualistic behavior. So it becomes self-maintaining after a while. So to realize that we are able to break this down and address it piece by piece. It's not just, oh, you're going crazy. A lot of the times when people do things and they say, oh, I'm just going crazy. Well, the human brain is an amazing thing. It comes up with all kinds of different ways to respond to distress, to problems in the environment, to internal psychological problems. And so when I say a maladaptive response, usually there is something that the psyche and the body is trying to do. They're just doing it in a wrong way. And so if you can help untangle that and rechannel that, there's an amazing capacity for healing, And so part of the job of a good therapist, a good clinician, is to work with the person, understanding all these factors that are involved in triggering this behavior and maintaining this behavior, and then help rechannel whatever those urges are, whatever those needs are, in a way that is adaptive and healing. And so, yes, it's distressing, but it can be dealt with. And so I would not feel hopeless or discouraged, whether you're the person who is involved in those behaviors, or whether you're a parent or someone who is watching this. And of course, it's distressing, but yes, it can be dealt with. Mm-hmm. And inshallah, there is help, and we're understanding this more and more. Right. Yeah, and also no shame. Sometimes people, and I think in the Muslim community, we have a lot of thou ought not to this, and if I was a good Muslim, I wouldn't be doing that. That kind of shame and guilt is not a good start. you probably already know it's not a good behavior and you shouldn't be doing it, but you're doing it anyway. Well, there's probably a reason. And can we help you find more adaptive ways to address whatever that underlying cause is that gives rise to that behavior?
And hope is that key important word here, right? Especially, I mean, for the individuals who are engaging in this type of behavior, finding themselves with this struggle, but also for the family members that, this is, as you mentioned, that fine balance between, normalizing it, but, also recognizing that it is, something that needs attention and that needs to be dealt with. Essentially to say that if you're experiencing this, or if you have a family member who is, they're not the only ones who are, and there's a lot of other people who are going through the same, and help is available. So I think that is a very important and reassuring message. And I want to say for our audience,